I was out.
Hit the bed. Gone. Slept like a baby.
Like a baby. He woke up with like $47 in his pocket.
With the remote control of yeah, it's exactly what I told him. I said, hey, and then we can. I need to shout the whole of Rome doesn't need to hear my tour this morning. So, well, anyway, we always start the tour. I always start my tour here. The Colosseum was beautiful this morning, actually. I always start my tour here. It's a nice place to start with the maps, essentially, that are behind you saying what they were actually, and you're bang on. How is everybody's ancient Roman history? Pretty good, pretty patchy,
good.
mediocre. Okay, good. Well, today, you know, any knowledge that you have got, you're going to need to draw on it in some way, shape or form today, because unlike something like going to the Vatican or something like that, where there's lots to see, quite clearly you can see here, I'm just going to be giving you a tour of a pile of broken bricks. You know, it's just it's a ruins, most of this place. So you really need to have your imagination hats on today to actually piece all of this back together.
And we're off into the forum. Following the guy.
You have all these things sitting around the place, so you can touch them and rub them and sit on them or whatever. I think it's really nice. You know, you can't imagine going to somewhere like Stonehenge and this happening. You know, you'd be strung up for it. You know, it's quite a good place to stop here actually, because we can show you what the square used to look like now. So if you can imagine over the back here, you would have that really big basilica that I was telling you about there. On this.
Lex with Caesar's cremation spot.
To the forums I mentioned to you about the ground level being a lot higher. If you look closely, you can actually see where the ground level actually used to stop in this place. And actually, about a third of this, the bottom third of this whole arch was actually completely covered underground up until about 150 years ago. And you actually see that they've actually made various attempts to actually clean. So this is the Basilica Maxentius. Okay, it's actually completed early in the 300s. It was started by the Emperor Maxentius, and who would later actually have his empire taken away from him by Constantine. And it would be Constantine who was the guy who would legalise Christianity, and he was also the guy that finished this basilica. This was probably one of the few things Constantine didn't try and name after himself, and he deserves a bit of credit for that, because the guy was obsessed with naming things after himself. So, because what you see here of the Colosseum, where all these holes are, these aren't actually where this kid would have been, you know, this isn't actually where marble would have been clad. What's actually used to be in here, these are actually helping with the structural integrity of the building actually, and they would
We're fast tracking it.
We're probably going to big group of 50 people try and elbow us out of the way in a minute, so we've got to defend ourselves, yeah?
Well done, mate.
Good. Well, listen, welcome to the Colosseum. I've heard a few wows and oohs and ahs and stuff, and you know, there's no denying it is pretty impressive for what is actually this building is a ruin, you know, and it's fallen into disrepair over a long time. The last battles that they actually had, the last gladiatorial battles that actually had here were in the middle of the 400s, actually officially after the fall of the Roman Empire, but around about 440 were the final ones that actually happened here. It's your job to know where to start actually when talking about this, and I'm still always stumped, and I guess the best place to start for intents and purposes, and they're actually issued on a small tablet of stone, and you were given your arch number, your row number, and even your seat number inside the stadium, okay? So you would know which archway to go. It's actually said, there's a couple of books that I read that actually said that the Colosseum could actually be evacuated in 30 minutes. What? Can you imagine getting out of Wembley Stadium in 30 minutes? You know, 70,000 people out in 30 minutes, you just couldn't do it. But here, apparently, they could do it with such a organisation in place, and some of the exits, the exit routes. Because I guess once you get down, you just walk out, you know, because they didn't have all the fencing up in the arches like we've got today, I guess. So would it be too...
And now we eat. And drum. Cross.
To the plant.
Haha.
Guys, going to Colosseum today? Would you like to go again?
No.
Thank you.